Hello, everyone. We are back here with another episode of the Nashville Stars expansion OOTP 24 series. As you can see here, we have the 2025 playoff bracket. We received the top seed in the American League, and we will face the winner of the Seattle Mariners and the Minnesota Twins. Seattle finished with a 91 and 71 record. Brandon Belt 37-year-old Brandon Belt hitting leadoff for Seattle. I guess they acquired him at the deadline, and excuse me, he hasn't done very much since. But still a good eye. Put up a 383 OBP with Washington this season. Um, Julio Rodriguez putting up an MVP type performance. 5.6 WAR, probably a lesser defender. That's interesting. Put up an 8 zone rating and a 130 WRC plus. So it could just be he's not walking it. I mean, that's about a league average walk rate, though. 259 average, I guess, is what's hurting him. Because as you can see here, I mean, 2022, I believe. Okay, yeah. I mean, all right. I guess it's not too out of the ordinary. A 6-4 season is nothing to write home about. I just figured with 47 homers, it might be higher. They have Christian Encarnacion Strand. I guess they got him at around the deadline, or they might have picked him up off. Oh no, they got him in a trade. Colt Emerson, good prospect in real life, also pretty good prospect here. It seems like Sergio Zavala. Um, been much better with Seattle than he had been with Cincinnati. And then let's just look at the Twins real quick. 82 and 80 snuck into the postseason. I believe out of a pretty horrible AL Central or AL North, excuse me. Yeah, won the division by 12 games. The next best team was Toronto at 70 and 92. So interesting group of ball players. I believe we lost to them last season. Drew Rasmussen, Joe Ryan, Matt Cantorino, Bailey Ober. Good bullpen. Royce Lewis looks like a very, very solid, above a solid player, but 361 BABIP, slightly inflated, but he's also a decent runner. Not a team I'm particularly afraid of, but we can't really sleep on any opponents here. We had the best run differential in the AL, but as you can see here, the New York Yankees are 1 run behind us, despite our 13 win differential. We're probably more similar than most would most measures would indicate. That has to do with we went 35 and 12 in 1 run games, just an absurd record. But as you can see here, I mean, we were on a tear pre All-Star break, and kind of settled in with the rest of the pack. Still a very good post All-Star game record, but nothing to write home about. In the NL, the Atlanta Braves, Chicago Cubs are the. I guess we were the best team in baseball, as it turns out. I thought Chicago actually beat us there. I mean, it looks like the St. Louis Cardinals have the best run differential in baseball, and that is powered by Jordan Walker, Juan Yepes, Tink Hence finally turning into an ace. Lars Nootbaar, 5.1 WAR for Nootbaar. But I'm excited. I think, this year, especially if the Twins win, I think we have a decent opportunity to get to the ALCS. Hopefully compete for a World Series. We set up the playoff roster last time. I'm actually just going to sim through today just to get to some of these games so that way we know what's going on here. No games yet. That's interesting. Okay. So just the NL started. Milwaukee and St. Louis. St. Louis in the wild card round. That is interesting. If they get knocked out by the Marlins, that would be. We are playing the Minnesota Twins, it looks like. Or I guess opening series is now best of 5. Excuse me. Um, let's see. Okay, St. Louis. Milwaukee's already on their way to the NLDS. The Yankees and the Cardinals both move on. Now we're just waiting on Minnesota, Seattle. Seattle ties it up. Interesting. Okay. I guess travel day. And we will be playing the Minnesota Twins. Let's just kind of let's see real quickly what. Okay, Minnesota. It's a game tomorrow. Can we go to Minnesota's schedule real quick? Let's look at this game 5-4 win. So they gave up 4 runs, and all 4 runs they gave up were in the 4th inning. They came back with a 3-run 5th and a 1-run 6th, and held that the rest of the way. Drew Rasmussen and Griffin Jacks didn't get it done, but Brandon Waddell, former Tampa Bay Ray in real life, and Jose Olivares, who's turned into a very nice reliever for them. He's only 22, so what? Signed as an international free agent. Very interesting, developed nicely. Yeah, so he was a 2040, turned into a 2035 relief pitching prospect. Yeah, and I guess Minnesota just figured he'd be a stellar reliever, but not a fantastic starter. Threw him to the pen. He's been great. So he's the guy we'll have to watch out for. And obviously Royce Lewis. So, I mean, now we're into it. We will play the Minnesota Twins, and just a quick overview of what we're rocking with this postseason. I actually, should I start Fried or? I mean, we're definitely putting Montes in the 2 slot. I might even put him as the 1. I mean, Ashby or Pinjen Hark. We brought on Jaron DeBerry, our top pitching prospect. He's going to make the postseason roster. I think he showed me enough in his last start of the season, or his first start of his career for Major League Baseball, that he could be a valuable member of this postseason run. 11th round pick out of Dallas Baptist. Just true player development right there. But he plays up, you see the 60-70 here. That's just because he's in the bullpen. I think it's going to play up quite a bit out of the pen. And if anyone gets hurt, if Hark gets hurt, he can kind of give us a 3-4 inning bridge to some of these weapons we have in the back end with Cam Robinson, Devin Williams, Fairbanks, Bednar, Giovanni Moran, Clevenger, and pretty much everyone in our bullpen is ready to go after an amazing year. So I think we're going to rock with this 4-man rotation. We'll adjust. Just get them up to 90. You know what? Let's just get them 94. Let's let them rip it. You know what? Back to 90. Indecisiveness, not good for the postseason, but I'm liking our chances with our lineup. J.P. Crawford, at least a higher OBP guy, going to walk quite a bit at the top of the order, at least against righties. Probably going to switch this against lefties. Would like someone else up there against lefties. But we got Addison Barger hitting second for WAR this season. 30 homers, 30 doubles. Jose Ramirez, Alec Burleson, Tyler O'Neill. Let's just sort by WRC plus scope, major league, split, none. Okay, now we got it. Do we have Joey Ortiz on the roster? I didn't know if I put him on the roster, but Eddie Julian finally got hot. If we look at his season splits, 67 WRC plus in April, 112 in May, 42 in June. After June, I wasn't going to cut bait necessarily, but debating finding a first baseman at the deadline. But as you can see, July, August, September, and then a 4-game sample in October. Just a very, very solid bat, in the middle towards the bottom of our lineup. So happy about that. The walk rate came back in June. He was walking 5% of the time, striking out 32. By the end, as you can see, 17%, 14%, 12%, 23% in October in a 4-game sample. The slash line is back up. So happy about Eddie Julian. Bader, 4.2 WAR, still a tremendous center fielder. It is odd to me that he only has a 4.7 zone rating, right? He puts up a 106 WRC plus. I guess the stolen bases are really what takes him above and beyond, because Julio Rodriguez put up a 130 WRC plus with an 8 zone rating, and he only has one more win. So props to Harry Bader on the success this season. Definitely maximizing his contract and helping this expansion franchise take off. Back to the lineup, I think I'm going to rock with this right now, make adjustments based on, I'm probably just going to put Jose Ramirez in the leadoff slot. Tyler O'Neill, what were his splits? Gets lefties, righties. Okay, so he, in 180 plate appearances against lefties, is a 110, 77 against righties. So he's a candidate to hit in the 2 slot. Let's see about. Okay, Joe Adell, massive reverse splits, actually. So that's something we're going to have to consider. Let's just look at the ratings, see if those back that up. Yeah, I mean, just the only thing that's different, he's a little bit better not striking out against lefties, but maybe not as appealing as I once thought. Barger, splits, pretty good against both, better against righties. So he's definitely a candidate, even still, to hit in the 2 slot. Splits. J.P. Crawford, awful against left-handed pitching. So we're going to actually move him down the order considerably. Eddie Julian, I think he walks so much that it might not even matter. Oh, never mind. Awful against left-handed pitching. See, these are the things that are good to figure out about your team. Let's just see. Joey Ortiz. I mean, he was good against both. Let's see if the ratings. He's somewhat better against lefties than he is against righties. So that's actually something I want to take into mind here. Barger will probably hit 4th. Crawford is going to play. Burleson. I think Burleson does fine against both. No, he doesn't. But the ratings. Okay, so he's, somewhat considerably worse. Interesting. I think I might pause it right here, guys, and try to figure out if we can get another right-handed bat to put in the lineup against lefties. I'm just going to go through the roster a little bit, and then I'll come right back to it. All right, everybody, we are back. Decided to make a change here. I put Yoelqui Cespedes on the roster. I think he's been in AAA all year. Yep, at least all this season. 126 games in AAA, 132 WRC plus, 34 homers. Probably good enough to make a number of major league teams. Just didn't really have the outfield room for him, considering we had Tyler O'Neill, Joe Adell, Bader, um, Alec Burleson. I'm forgetting somebody. I believe we had another outfielder earlier in the season. Um, but yeah, I mean, Cespedes, you look at the ratings right here, uh, definitely hits lefties better than righties. Didn't have that on the roster at, prior to adding him. And if you look at his league scope, better against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching. If we could try to look at AAA batting splits, or excuse me, that was this season. Yeah, I mean that was just this year. So, 2 years ago. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen a data set against left-handed pitching from at the big league level, but I'm still confident he could get the job done. Has a great arm, should be able to play right. Honestly, I'm going to put him in right field. Joe Adell, 65 range. Mm-mm. I don't know if I want Tyler O'Neill in the 2 slot anymore. You know what? I think we're fine with that for the moment. Yeah, we'll just DH him. Yeah, okay. So these are going to be our playoff lineups. We're going to simulate to tomorrow, and we are going to just go through a gameplay of the game 1 of the ALDS, which is now a 7-game series. Yeah, so I think they'll give us the matchups beforehand. Montes versus Ober. So Ober's their 4-starter, 114 FIP minus. We get the game at home. Doesn't strike out a ton of people, but also a control artist, and has a slight problem with the home run ball, and he's an extreme fly ball pitcher. So that should be conducive to some of our guys coming up at the plate, and we also don't have to worry about, if I'm just going to look at their bullpen real quick, because if the case is that they don't have many lefties, they have Josh Hartle, Wake Forest guy. Happy to see him. And then Waddell. And interesting. If there gets to be a big spot, I still think it's worth having Cespedes on the roster. So we're going to get right into it. Get right into the gameplay. As you can see, the lineups here. We have the relative advantage, I think. They have Royce Lewis, Byron Buxton, and Ryan Jeffers as the guys who are, obviously this is a very rudimentary way of looking at it, but those are the guys who are better in their relative lineup positions. Nobody looks at that. I think we got a good chance at winning this series, especially against an 82-win ball club, but they're not someone to, look past here. We got to win 4 out of the next 7, and that starts with this game right now. So we will be kicking off from Nashville shortly, and it's going to do a little spin before Montes faces John Birdie, the utility man. Birdie's going to fly out to Bader in center. That's going to be out number 1. I'm just kind of going to go – I'm going to coast through the first inning, and then we're going to fast forward, strike out to Willie Castro in the 2-hole, and then their best hitter, Royce Lewis, nobody on, 3-2, strikeout. Okay, that's a great first start to Minnesota. Yeah. J.P. Crawford finds a way on, base hit. He is not going to steal. Barger, the 1-2. A diving catch by Buxton. Okay, it looks like he's not going to get – J.P. Crawford is not going to get doubled up at first. Jose Ramirez now called strike 3. And now we got Burleson in the 4-hole. Let's see if he can put some – he gets walked. Now we have Tyler O'Neill. Hopefully he could put something in play with 2 outs, make something happen. But an infield fly out to the third baseman. And I think at this point we're going to fast forward to the 4th inning and kind of just see how the game turns out. Be right back.